welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating and, frankly, fiercely debated analysis of Joseph Vijay's explosive entry into Tamil Nadu politics. We're looking at some incredibly complex, intense theories surrounding this whole situation. The source material we're diving into today presents a deeply layered perspective. It literally blends local, ground-level political maneuvers with massive global conspiracy theories. So whether you agree with the analysis or not, it offers a totally captivating look at how some political observers are interpreting this huge shift in southern India's political landscape. To understand the overarching claims being made here, we'll be following this roadmap. We're going to cover forces challenging India's structure, Vijay's Tamil Nadu strategy, the U.S. deep state theory, echoes of the LTTE, religion, silence, and politics, and finally, markets divisions and questions. We're starting from a broad, global framework and drilling all the way down to specific events in the state assembly. Let's jump right in. Section 1. Forces challenging India's structure, a framework of global geopolitics. Okay, so the source kicks things off with a massive structural claim before even touching on local politics. They identify 5 specific, overlapping forces that are allegedly working actively to disrupt the nation's unity. According to this analysis, you've got global market forces prioritizing profit over sovereignty, foreign powers, specifically calling out the U.S. deep state wanting to maintain dominance, and then internal and external ideological movements. We're talking communism and Naxal movements, evangelical churches, and radical Islam. The speaker's main argument here is that these aren't just isolated threats. They are overlapping forces that occasionally align to destabilize the country.
And the source sets up a really sharp contrast to explain why this is happening now. On one side, we have India's rapid rise, right? Its growing nuclear capabilities, an independent foreign policy that kind of defies expectations from both the U.S. and Gulf nations, and massive domestic backing. But on the flip side, we have the alleged sabotage. The claim is that because India is now negotiating from this position of unprecedented strength, these foreign powers are actively trying to sabotage the momentum. They even cite recent claims of American and Ukrainian nationals allegedly attempting to spark revolts in northeastern states like Mizoram and Manipur through religious training.
Moving on to Section 2. Vijay's Tamil Nadu strategy, analyzing the local moves. So you're probably wondering, how does this speaker connect this giant global framework to Tamil Nadu and specifically to Joseph Vijay's brand new political party? Well, the source actually coins a specific term for Vijay's approach, transitionary politics. It's defined as an attempt to mix these seemingly contradictory ideologies into one super appealing platform. Imagine trying to blend traditional Dravidian regionalism, the social justice focus of Periyar, the historical welfare legacy of former Chief Minister Kamaraj, and overarching Indian nationalism, all at the exact same time. The source argues this is a deliberate, calculated transitional phase, stepping away from pure regionalism but holding back from jumping into pure hardline nationalism. Now, on the public-facing side, Vijay has made some highly visible, culturally resonant moves. For instance, he ordered the closure of liquor shops within 500 meters of temples and educational institutions, and he's made these highly publicized visits to Murugan and Sai Baba shrines. But here's where it gets interesting. The source deeply questions the motive behind these actions. They theorize that this might literally just be a tactical strategy to secure the state's massive 85% Hindu vote bank, basically presenting a Hindutva-friendly face just to win acceptance. Which brings us to Section 3, the U.S. deep state theory international parallels. This is where the explainer takes a really sharp turn into international conspiracy territory, specifically pointing a finger at foreign intelligence. The speaker draws a direct and highly controversial parallel. They theorize that foreign entities, specifically referencing the CIA and comparing it to alleged historical backing for Arvind Kejriwal, might actually be building the strategic structure for Vijay from behind the scenes. The claim is that since earlier political experiments might not have fully disrupted the national structure, foreign powers are now pivoting to the southern border state of Tamil Nadu, setting up a new pawn to challenge central power. The source emphasizes this massive, unanswered logistical question. I mean, think about it. How does a brand new political entity completely lacking a grassroots cadre manage to select candidates, understand intricate district-level politics, deliver incredibly polished speeches, and somehow avoid all the usual infighting? The source argues that such a smooth, rapid rise is just unnatural. They conclude it points straight to massive external funding and a master strategy orchestrated by foreign intelligence agencies who excel at this kind of political engineering. Section 4. Echoes of the LTTE, a pivot in Tamil sentiment. Moving deeper into the regional complexities of southern India, the source proposes another layer to the party's ideological foundation. The speaker claims there's an underlying effort to capitalize on very specific, deep-seated regional emotions. The theory suggests a strategic pivot away from broader Dravidian identity politics and toward a much more hardline Tamil identity. Furthermore, the source alleges that individuals with mindsets sympathetic to the LTTE, the militant separatist group Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, are intentionally being given political tickets and platforms. It's presented by the source as a highly calculated move to consolidate a specific, fiercely loyal demographic. Now for Section 5, Religion, Silence, and Politics, the Assembly Controversy. So, a huge point in the speaker's argument actually relies on analyzing what is not being said. Because sometimes silence in politics is louder than words, right? This timeline maps out a key sequence of events in the state assembly. Following the government formation and the speaker's appointment, a massive controversy erupted. Udayanidhi Stalin made highly publicized remarks calling for the eradication of Sanatan Dharma, which represents traditional Hindu duties and practices. While other political factions reacted strongly, the source highlights that Vijay's faction maintained absolute, complete silence on the matter. And the speaker strictly rejects the official public excuse given for the silence. While Vijay's camp claimed they were simply maintaining house decorum and refusing to disrupt proceedings, the source offers a radically different interpretation. Because Vijay comes from a Christian background, the source interprets this silence as tacit support for an evangelical agenda. The argument goes like this. If you are truly practicing inclusive or pro-Hindu politics, like your temple visits suggest, you defend the faith when it's attacked. The inability to oppose the remarks, the source claims, reveals a hidden Christian political strategy to eventually convert the state, totally masked by those public temple visits. Section 6. Markets, Divisions, and Questions. The Final Analysis. To bring all of these sprawling theories together, the analysis circles back to how these alleged global forces exploit local vulnerabilities. The claim is that global market forces don't just passively watch India, they invest heavily in what they disguise as market research. But in reality, the source alleges, this research is actually designed to pry open historical societal fault lines. Just look at the list they provide. Dravidian versus Aryan, Dalit versus Savarna, referencing historical caste hierarchies, Brahmanism versus others, and socialism versus capitalism. By funding divisions along these exact lines, foreign entities aim to break the social harmony of the country, making it way easier to sell their goods and exert geopolitical control. But despite all these alleged, highly coordinated efforts to destabilize the nation, the source drops this massive number, 1 billion. Roughly 100 core people in India, the speaker notes, stand firmly with the current national leadership. This massive demographic represents a solid bulwark, honestly an almost impenetrable wall of unity against these various destabilizing forces, whether we're talking about global markets or foreign intelligence agencies. Now, acknowledging heavily that this is purely political analysis and observation, there's no hard concrete proof here. The source leaves us with this final, incredibly provocative question. They use the metaphor of Kalnami, a mythological demon known for his deceptive disguises. The speaker asks, is there a Kalnami face at play here? Even though Vijay might publicly ensure the national song is sung at his events and visibly visit temples, are his true political motives entirely different and hidden from view? It's a fascinating lens through which to view political theater. So, what do you think? Does the rapid rise of a new party signal brilliant local strategy, or are there much larger forces at play behind the scenes? That wraps up our explainer on this deeply complex analysis. Keep questioning, keep analyzing, and we'll see you next time.